Hey, a bunch of puckheads. Welcome to This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey. I'm Mike Hammett. Say hello to the fellas before we get started. Bill Berg with me tonight, and also Dell Scanlon. How you guys doing?
Surviving.
Surviving?
Coughing my lungs out still.
Still under the weather, huh? All right, let's move on to our games of the week. I had the boys KMMO at Janesville, and could tell you in this one, it looked like in Janesville had finally hit their stride. They came out and had the first four shots of the game and really skated like the first 5, 6 minutes, like they had come to play. But after that, KMMO seemed to level things out a little bit, put a couple pucks in the back of the net to make it 2-0 after one period. Janesville does come back and get one in the second period to make it a 2-1 game on a goal by Drew King. But after that, KMMO came back and scored another one to make it 3-1. And in the third period, they tacked on one more for the winning margin of 4-1. In this game, in the first period, I'm doing this off the top of my head. Janesville had 9 shots, and they finished with 18. So after the first period, seemed like KMMO kind of shut things down a little bit. Janesville was pretty outsized in this one. KMMO is a much bigger team and take up much more space out there. So the Lasers get the 4-1 win, our game of the week last week. Dell, you got to go see the Rock County Fury take on the Badger Lightning.
Yeah, thanks, MJ. Yep, I traveled over to Sauk Prairie and caught the Badger Lightning hosting the Rock County Fury. First period was extremely close. Shots on goal were 9-7 in favor of the Fury, and it actually was a 5-on-3 power play goal with 38 seconds remaining in the first period that allowed the Rock County to take a 1-0 lead at the end of the first period. Rock County went up 2-0 early in the second, and then Lightning came back and tied it up at 2. But then Rock County answered with 3 goals in the second period to end up leading 5-2 at the end of 2 periods. And then in the third period, Rock County scored to go up 6-2. Badger Lightning came back about 5 minutes later, scored, but then Rock County put it away with 7 minutes remaining in the game, 7-3. This was a game that Rock County outshot the Badger Lightning 44-26 in the game, and the goaltender for the Badger Lightning, Alyssa Gata, played 2 periods, and then Olivia Renneberg played the third period, whereas Jillian Traver played the full game in net for Rock County Fury. And the game was actually closer than what the final score would show. It was an opportunity that Rock County took advantage of the power play opportunities, where they scored 2, were 2 for 6 on the power play, and the Badger Lightning were 0 for 1 with their chances. So, but in Badger Conference play, the Rock County Fury knocked off Badger Lightning in our game of the week, 7-3.
I see our player of the week last week on the girls' side, Emma Clegora, continued her torrid pace, scoring last week as well, having a pretty nice week to top off the player of the week mention. She just kept going. Well, let's go ahead and talk about our Best Western Premier Park Hotel Players of the Week. Now that we got player pronunciations ready and correct, Bill Berg, you can go ahead and who's the Players of the Week?
Thanks, MJ. I believe you said his name was Andrew Jaka.
Jakey.
Jakey. Okay. Andrew Jakey from Oregon. On Tuesday, he had 5 goals and 2 assists in an 11-1 win over the South Central Navigators. On Friday, he had 2 goals in a 6-3 win over Onalaska. And on Saturday, he had 4 goals, all 4 goals in a 4-2 win over Sun Prairie. So forward from Oregon, Andrew Jakey is our Best Western Premier Player of the Week on the boys' side. On the girls' side, Autumn Cooper from Superior. We remember her from last year, from the state tournament even.
Yes, we do.
On Thursday, she had 3 goals and an assist in a 5-0 win over Moose Lake. And on Saturday, she had 3 goals and an assist in a 16-1 win over the Cooley Region Cyclones. So a hat trick in each game for Autumn Cooper. I'm sure there will be plenty more hat tricks to come for Autumn Cooper this year. Superior seems to be sort of a powerhouse up there in the Great White North this year.
The Cooley Region Cyclones, is that used to be the Onalaska Hilltopper?
I believe
That
so.
is correct.
Okay, so they're just going Cooley Region. Okay. Well, there's our Player of the Week winners: Andrew Jakey from Oregon on the boys' side, Autumn Cooper on the girls' side from Superior. Bill, you're right. I remember Autumn Cooper from the state tournament. She's a fine player, and like you said, we're going to hear more from her. What do you guys want to do here? Who wants to hand out the top sixes?
Go ahead, MJ.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Top 6. Let's start in Division 2. Division 2, Amory is the number 1 team. New Richmond comes in 2nd. Oregon comes in 3rd. Lakeland comes in 4th. St. Mary's Springs 5th. And the McFarland Spartans come in at 6th. New Richmond had more first place votes than Amory, but appeared lower on its non-first place ballots. Amory, New Richmond, Springs, and Oregon all received first place votes. 8 additional teams received votes, but didn't crack the top 6. Girls' side, you mentioned Autumn Cooper. You mentioned they got a juggernaut up there, Bill. Well, they also have the number 1 spot in girls hockey up there. The Superior Spartan girls team is number 1 in the state. Central Wisconsin Storms, number 2. St. Croix Valley Fusion is number 3. The Hudson Raiders, it comes in 4th. Bay Area Ice Bears, the defending state champs, 5th. And Hayward Hurricanes come in 6th. Superior got all but 2 of the first place votes, the other 2 going to the Storm. Every team in the girls' top 6 is either on or north of Highway 29. Not to beat a dead horse, but Hudson is not a co-op, and all but 1 player on Superior's roster has Superior listed as their school. Just stuff that Bill Jr. noted. 4 additional teams received votes, but didn't crack the top 6. Finally, Division 1. A little bit of jockeying for position. Division 1, the number 1 seed comes out of the Madison area. It's Madison Edgewood comes in number 1. Bayport, the Pirates, are number 2. Stevens Point, Spash, comes in number 3. Brookfield comes in number 4. Chippewa Falls 5, and the defending Notre Dame Tritons come in number 6 in the Division 1 level. Chippewa Falls was the only team in the top 6 that didn't receive at least 1 first place vote. 6 additional teams received votes, but didn't crack the top 6. Upcoming games of the week we've got coming up. Thursday, I'll be up in watch Madison Edgewood take on Middleton in a southern part of the state here matchup between a couple of schools in the Madison area. And Saturday, Hudson and the Wisconsin Valley Union. Bill, is that you and Junior going to go to that?
I believe it is. We don't get a chance to see Hudson very often, so they're coming over this way. It'll, as Bill would say, it'll be a single school against half of central Wisconsin schools that make up the Wisconsin Valley Union. And there's at least 6 schools in that co-op.
So those are our games. Go
MJ,
ahead.
the
Yeah.
Middleton Madison Edgewood game. So is Madison Edgewood's home ice now Verona's second rank?
I've been told.
Or the Verona just down in Verona all the time now? They no longer play at the Laban?
I've been told that, yes, that's what it is. Because they're supposed to have that second rink in Verona done. And I don't know what the whole thing about moving out of Levon, but Verona's got that second sheet now, and they've got a school that wants to use it. So that's where
Well,
Edgewood's going to go.
you figure the cost to play it, to use the Laban Arena probably it's a little bit more than what it is to go and use the second rink in Verona.
I would
And
agree with that.
And I do know that the Culver's Cup this year is actually planning on using that rink also, because they're actually playing in Verona, at Hartmeyer, and at Madison Ice Arena. So they plan on using all three facilities for the Culver's Cup this year.
When you're using three facilities, boy, you better pay attention to where your next game is going to be at, because you could be in one place and your game would be at the other. But we got you covered with that, right, Del?
Yep, that's all actually covered in our article on the front page, saying 2023 holiday tournaments. Where's your team? And so, what tournaments we know about, we do have the schedule in that article.
I know you moved on quickly there, MJ, but do we want to go back and discuss a little bit about the top sixes?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I mean, yeah, it's obviously these are written in pencil on paper or chalk on chalkboard, because they're definitely not going to stay this way. Probably not even for a full week, because I mean, teams just haven't played all that many games yet, so it's kind of a crapshoot early on. But there's some new names up there that we've not seen in a while. Like in Division 2, you got Amory up at number 1. McFarland is in the top 6. St. Mary Springs has dropped all the way down to number 5. They've kind of been a mainstay at 1 or 2 for a long time.
Then you look on the girls' side, and it's kind of like, more of the same. Everything north of Highway 29, and that's not even featuring any of the teams in the Milwaukee area. We know that USM has a good team this year, but they didn't get enough votes.
Well, and the thing is, when I saw McFarland was there as the number 6 in Division 2, I actually had to go back and look because I couldn't remember what their season was last year. I see they're sitting at 5-1 right now, and last year they finished their season at 10-14, and so for going from there to where they're at right now is a good improvement from last season. And I haven't gotten to see McFarland play in a few years.
Me either.
But you look at, and I see Mason Pommering last year was their their point leader with 39 points, and he's a senior this year. So, it'd be kind of interesting to kind of keep a little bit of an eye out and see how he does this season.
Yeah, the Division 1 side. I haven't seen Madison Edgewood, obviously. Bayport had some epic games last year with Notre Dame. That was a fight to the finish to see who was going to come out of that section, and Notre Dame ends up winning the state tournament. But just could have easily been Bayport last year, and now they're back this year and looking tough again. And the Smash Panthers they had a young team last year, so they're kind of growing into their skates too. That's it. In Brookfield, we haven't for Brookfield in a while.
Looking at Brookfield right now is the best team over in the Milwaukee area. USM has struggled out of the gate. Arrowhead hasn't quite found what their stride's going to be this year, and Brookfield's come out pretty strong, and people have noticed. And Chippewa Falls, Notre Dame at 6. And I'm sure everybody agrees that this isn't the same Notre Dame team from last year. I mean, a lot of these faces have changed. You know, they're always going to be good, but that team last year was pretty doggone special with talent, and it's hard to replace that talent year after year.
Well, in
Well,
addition to several players moving on last year, their longtime coach moved on last year too. So
Yep,
we got a new guy in charge down in Notre Dame this year.
yep.
I'm glad you brought that up, Burglar, because I was just going to ask what kind of change, has an effect on the team. New head coach, does it change the system, the way they want to play and stuff. So, interesting to see how they improve as the season advances.
And the same could be said with Verona. Joel Marshall stepped down before the season started, and they have a new coach there. Joel Marshall's been there for years, and he wants to follow his kids playing hockey, and can't blame him. So, what changes down there, if anything? We'll have to keep an eye on Verona. They haven't played many games so far, but I'm sure we will hear more from them as the season goes on.
Yeah, that's a name that's missing from the top six that's usually in there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Chippewa Falls gotten off to a good start this year. Looked to be pretty strong this year. We don't see Eau Claire Memorial in there.
That kind of surprises me. I thought Eau Claire well, I guess the two losses surprised me. I saw Eau Claire Memorial beat Notre Dame, and I mean they beat them on the scoreboard and they beat them physically. They looked like a really strong team. I was kind of surprised to see them lose 2 games already.
Yeah, one of them a 1-0 game to River Falls. And then that tough loss they suffered last week against Hudson in the overtime with point, was it 2 or 4 seconds when that puck went in? That's a tough way to go.
Yeah, I think Mason said there was 0.2 of a second left on the clock when that last goal crossed for the win.
Now, he watched that game on Live Barn. He didn't drive up there. He watched it on Live Barn, and he went back and watched it a number of times. A little bit long article, but you know what? It's pretty full of details. So, whatever ways we can, we try to get stuff out there for our followers. Live Barn is one of those things that we do use from time to time. Anybody ready to move on? Final thoughts?
Well, I got one update here that as I was looking at the top sixes and trying to remember who's Division 1 and who's Division 2. I did pull up the WIAA brackets. So now if you just go to our top menu and just click on boys, it will bring up basically the brackets. It'll have Division 1, Section 1, 2, 3, and 4, Division 2, Section 1, 2, 3, and 4, and all the teams that are in there. And since I was doing that, I did the girls also. So their sections are all listed. And it was kind of funny with the girls. I think it was Section 3 is basically the Eastern Shores Conference, and Section 4 is the Badger Conference. I mean, they line up exactly those
Right.
teams. It's like on boys Division 2, Section 2 is the Great Northern Conference, except you throw out Marshfield and bring in Pacelli. But yeah, those two final sections for the girls are exactly the conferences.
So MJ, you kind of familiar with the Madison area boys teams, and I know for the last few years, we've looked at, DeForest and Lodi was one team, and then you had the Madison La Follette and
The East Side Lakers.
the East Side Lakers. Well, now they're combined now to become the South Central Navigators. What are you expecting out of that?
Well, that's a good question. What do when you get a co-op, do these kids all play together coming up? If they play together coming up, then, more things will mesh. But I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to be competitive. But at this point, I think they'll be okay. Numbers wise, they look to be okay. Adding DeForest and Poinette and Lodi and the Eastside Lakers, which for many years has had quite a problem with fielding a quality team, but I think they'll be okay. May take some lumps early, but and they'll win a few games. But it's going to be a process, no doubt about that.
I'm kind of old school. I think I'm going to refer to them as the Netscape Navigators.
That is old school.
Next thing you know, you're going to have to, Burglar's going to find a team that he can name AOL.
Well, that's MJ's calling.
Yeah. That's me and my AOL mail. Hard habits are hard to break, I guess. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I just as soon get back to the football game if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, then we got lots to talk about. We're talking hockey, not football.
My last final thought for the night is most coaches should have received an email from Jim Hayes by now. Once again, those votes aren't actually required for the Hobey Baker Award until the end of January, but keep that email in a spot that you know where it's at, so you're able to nominate a player from your team. We all know that you have seniors on your teams that are of high character and are deserving of this award. And there's no reason that we shouldn't have 100% participation from the boys and girls side. Wisconsin's probably the state that ends up with the best nominees going in for representing all the schools, but it would be nice to see them all represented.
I couldn't agree more. Very good point you made there, Del. I guess my final thing would be to the players. If you go to your team page and it's not set up, make sure you point that out to your coach or somebody, because that way we can keep a better eye on the stats and get that page up to date, because I've been on a couple pages and nobody's even listed coaches or anything. So take a look. If your team page isn't right, well, better point it out to somebody so we'll can get it right and you guys can get the publicity that you very much deserve. I've had a long day. It looks like Bill's looking back at the football game.
That's why I'm doing the thing up here, because I can see the TV from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to turn in for the night, but guys, anything else you want to add before we leave the airwaves?
I'm good.
You good? Del, you're good?
Well, it depends on if you ask my wife or not.
Okay. Another story for another day. All right. For Bill and Del, I'm Mike Hammett. Next week, we'll be right back here again. And hopefully you'll join us right here on This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey.